safe and stay warm. Now let's start up with what has been happening in the last 12 hours, and we take you back to matters of health, where the much anticipated deal between the government and doctors aimed at ending the ongoing strike failed to materialize Monday, with the government now giving doctors until today, Tuesday, to conclude their discussions, which will give way forward to the ongoing strike. Here's Joseph Wahungu with the details.
After a day-long wait for the doctors' union officials to sign a return-to-work agreement, the government has seemingly been obliged to wait a bit longer to have the medics resume their duties. Head of Public Service Felix Koskei says the government side had agreed to postpone the signing slated for Monday to mark the end of a month-long strike.
He agreed that the union leadership goes back to report to their council and their membership so that they can ratify for us to come and sign the return to work agreement.
According to Koskei, most contentious issues concerning the strike have been resolved, and the government is waiting for KMPDU to conclude ratification of the same with their members.
Concerning the sticking issue, something that we discussed yesterday, and now they are continuing with their meeting, and we have to have our meeting tomorrow. So we don't want to preempt any, and we don't want to set up anybody. So wait for tomorrow's pronouncement.
Koskei, however, refused to divulge the details of what was agreed concerning intern doctors' demand for 206,000 shillings remuneration.
We are almost at the tail end of this process, so we are waiting for the affirmation. As we all agreed that we will reconvene tomorrow for the final signing, and we are looking forward to the strike being called off. Thank you.
A return-to-work formula drafted by representatives of both sides is now a subject of discussion by the Doctors' Union KMPDU officials, who are expected to take a vote this evening on whether to call off their strike.
That deadline issued by government is today, and we're going to be keeping tabs on that development as we look at a strike that has been ongoing well over a month. Now, at least 2 people have died in separate flooding incidents as heavy rains continue to pound the country. Now, transport at the border of Kiambu and Machakos counties was cut off after River Athi burst its banks and flooded the main bridge at Donyo Sabuk. Khalid Abulai has an update.
This was the situation along the Kiambu-Machakos border. River Athi burst its banks, spilling its contents on the road, disrupting traffic on the main bridge at Donyo Sabuk. Business persons and motorists using the link road to transport food items, construction materials, among other items, were struck at both sides of the road. The devastating effects of the ongoing heavy rains has since seen a section of the traders shut down their businesses. Residents say the perennial problem requires prompt and permanent intervention, urging the government to expedite their relocation to avert deaths as the rain continues to pour.
Ukiangalia hapa chini penye hii daraja penye imejaa maji, already imefumulewa na maji. Tunaomba serikali, ukiangalia paka pale mwisho gari haziwezi kupita. Boda haziwezi pita hapa.
Najua government iko na solution. Government iko na solution. Kama unaona daraja iko pale isha katika nusu, next thing hatujui ni nini. Na hapa kuna pita marodi za mawe zinatoka huku Cheleni. Kuna pita marodi za chakula za kubeba maybe chakula na vitu mingi zinapitianga hapa.
Elsewhere, hundreds of tenants in a Ruaka apartment have been urged to vacate the apartment after a perimeter wall collapsed, killing 1 and injuring 17 others. The owner of the building is on the spot for alleged encroachment of the riparian land. Area leaders want the county government to move with speed and stop construction of buildings along riparian land.
Kuna ile sehemu tunaita riparian land. Watu sasa siku hizi wameanza kujenga mpaka huko. Kwa hivyo mimi ningeuliza waziri wa manyumba na mipango aendelee kuleta kikosi yake ground, tuende tukiangalia zile nyumba ambazo zote zimejengwa katika karibu na njia za maji, ndio tuzuie mikasa kama hii.
Similar scenes were witnessed in Nairobi after River Ngong and Nairobi River burst their banks, resulting in flash floods in Kibra, South C, South B, Mukuru Kwanjenga, Mukuru Kayaba, Ruben, Kawangware, Mathare, Viwandani and Kilimani. And over 1,000 flood victims in Wangcheng ward in Karachuonyo constituency, Homa Bay County, Monday received relief food from the national government following the devastating floods in the area. Cabinet Secretary for Water Zakaria Njeru, who spoke during the exercise, said that the government had donated the foodstuff to assist families who are currently in camps.
Wale watu ambao wanafaidika ambao wamekuwa displaced so far ni watu 1,057 lakini bado tunazidi kuangalia wengine ambao pengine hawajaweza kuingizwa katika orodha ile. Wote tutaangalia tuone ni vipi. Kwa hivyo na pia kuna wale ambao nyumba zao zimeweza kubomolewa na maji ama kuathirika. Tumeahidi kwamba tutarudi na mabati.
In that regard, the Kenya Red Cross is warning of a possible humanitarian crisis with over 30,000 households in 26 high-risk counties likely to be displaced as heavy rains continue to pound the country. Now, the humanitarian organization has also issued an alert to residents living around Masinga and Kiambere dams, which are in Embu County, that are at a risk of spilling over after the water levels exceeded their limits. As our reporter Jael Opicho in this particular report notes, is that so far 10,144 households are currently displaced. Here's a report.
Heavy rainfall has been witnessed across the country in the last 48 hours, with no signs of let-up affecting at least 23 of the 47 counties. And with the rains come stories of death and destruction. According to Kenya Red Cross, there is likelihood that 30,000 households will be displaced in at least 26 high-risk counties, with the incidence of drowning expected to rise, an upsurge of water and vector-borne-related diseases. Issuing an alert, the humanitarian organization says they are monitoring and conducting a continuous situation analysis. So far, the heavy rains have caused significant infrastructural damage in Samburu, Nairobi, Kiambu, Machakos, Mombasa and Kajiado. Additionally, 4,795 livestock deaths have occurred, with 10,144 households displaced. 27,000 acres of arable land has been submerged, 206 businesses affected, 14 roads destroyed and 18 schools affected. They are also warning of a possible spillage from Masinga and Kiambere Dam, which has experienced an overflow. Among some of the interventions in place is the setting up of 49 displaced camps, support to 364 households with food items, and 1,425 people reached by health outreaches. To keep safe, they have advised the public to take the following measures: evacuate immediately in case of flooding, keep off moving water that is 6 inches and above. A foot of moving water can sweep a vehicle. Use a stick to test the depth of water. Switch off electricity at the main switch if the house is flooded. Avoid parking and driving along streams or rivers. Avoid down power lines and muddy waters, and do not drive over a flooded bridge. The emergency line is 1199.
Now, efforts to trace 6 people who are who actually capsized along Lake Baringo in a boating accident now want that reinforced. The search reinforced as the rescue operation intensifies. Here's Gladys Mungai.
As the operation to rescue 6 people whose boat capsized in Lake Baringo intensify, survivors of the ill-fated vessel have narrated the ordeal as the mission enters day 2.
Mimi watoto wangu walikuwa watoto 4. Sasa kijana moja firstborn na wasichana 3. Sasa vile walienda wasichana wakaniacha, sasa nikabaki na kijana.
Kuja tu tukaona waves inasumbua sisi, inaingia mara inapiga maji, tunaingia boti na tukafika tu hapo kwa katikati, tukaona waves ndio mingi kabisa. Imepiga tu moja ikiingia maji na tukaona watoto wakapata changamoto kidogo, wakapika nduru na wakaanguka, lakini sisi tulifika tu hapa salama, tulikuja kuokolea na tulifika salama, tulikuja tu paka kanisani.
A weekend church trip for Baringo youth turned into a desperate fight for survival as the boat capsized on Lake Baringo. The ill-fated vessel carrying 23 high school and grade 8 students was en route to Kokwa Island for church service.
That occurred yesterday as a result of the strong wind. I did request that as government, we need to have a marine office here in Kambia Samaki with personnel. The purpose of this office here is to come up with the governance structures to govern the activities in this Lake Baringo. Because up to now, the way that things are being controlled might not be within the expectation of the locals. And
it is just being finalized by Red Cross, and we have made logistics to ensure that now they can be taken back to their homes to reunite with a larger family. So far we are here with the county security team and the leaders in solidarity to ensure that we try to continue with the rescue operation.
The situation worsened when the boat propeller became entangled in a fishing net, rendering it powerless to navigate the choppy waters.
Nataka water ambulance kwa hii bahari, kama water ambulance 2, moja iwe katikati ya maji kama Kokwa, moja iwe hapa. Ili chochote ikifanyika, tunaweza kuokoa maisha ya wananchi kwa haraka.
Panic surged as some of the passengers feared the increasing rough water jumped into the lake.
Sababu unajua sasa masutuko hata usiku mtu taasaruka kufikiria jana ile maneno, na hawa wametulia. Sasa tunataka peleka watoto mpaka Kambia Samaki akutane na wazazi yao.
16 passengers were pulled to safety.
Bado tunasubiri kungojea manusura kama tutasapata, na tunataka kuhimiza serikali washughulikie. Unajua hata yule mtu ambaye amepoteza mtu hawezi tosheka bila kuona. Ni mzuri patikane, na hata kama amekufa ndio akuja aridhika kwamba imeshapatikana. Lakini wakiacha hivyo, hata sisi tukiwa wakaaji ama community kwa jumla hatuwezi kubali hiyo.
The capsized boat has been towed to the shore, serving as a grim reminder of the fragile balance between faith and misfortune that unfolded on these waters. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
For closure, the kin say that they need to see the bodies of their loved ones. And in hindsight, well, swimming should be a skill that, we all have. So those who, like my colleague here, Mike, who the only water they can actually stand is, the size of... You're still watching Good Morning Kenya, and we want to insist you never saw nothing, right? Now let's bring you up to speed with matters of ICT. Quite the timing, right? The government has commenced the process of reviewing building codes to ensure all new buildings are fiber optic ready. President William Ruto says plans are underway to increase fixed broadband access to 12 million households within the next 6 years and connect 100,000 institutions and markets. Here's Nimun Jenga with the details.
A more effective whole. The 4-day Connected Africa Summit 2024 seeks to address connectivity challenges, digital infrastructural gaps, cybersecurity issues, data protection and privacy, and digitalization of government services across Africa.
Also learn to use what we have and make sure that the ball is always ahead so that we find it there.
President William Ruto committed to invest in the development of a fixed broadband infrastructure that will reach over 12 million households within the next 6 years.
From 1.2 million to 8 million out of the 12 million households between 2022 and 2030. Furthermore, we have commenced the process of reviewing our building codes to ensure all new buildings are fiber optic ready.
This among interventions such as the rollout of the National Citizen Digital Skills Program, commonly known as the DigiTrack, and laying of 100,000 kilometers of fiber by the year 2027 that is expected to sustain the growth momentum of the ICT sector at 10% annually.
We have committed to provide 40 hours of digital skills and innovation training free of charge to citizens across the country, delivered through mobile units.
He urged African countries to work together to formulate and implement a harmonized model for digital transformation.
A harmonized model of regulation to be governed by a network of ICT authorities, which shall oversee the integration of the digital transformation initiatives throughout the continent in accordance with our AU 2063 agenda for ICT.
We'll be keeping tabs on that. Remember, this is ongoing, and KBC Channel 1 is one of the media support for the summit. Now, senators are accusing Kenya Power and Lighting Company of breaching the constitution on its employment policy. The management of the company that appeared before the Senate Committee on Cohesion regarding equal representation was hard-pressed to explain why two communities constituted 40% of workforce at the utility company. Here's Hashim with the details.
The Kenya Power and Lighting Company, KPLC, is once again on the spot.
From the table, from the above data, Chairman, the company does not have any ethnic which is more than 1/3 of the staff establishment.
The company on Monday morning was put to task to explain why only two communities formed a greater percentage of employees at the institution.
You've employed 5 communities, taking 77% of the slots. 2 communities doing 40%.
Chairman,
so why do we have 2 communities occupying almost all the positions in this country? Then why are we taking our kids to school?
We may not be able to change what is already behind us, Chairman, but we are really committed to ensure that the people we get on board are the most competent to undertake this, and we are very keen not to ensure that we don't discriminate against any individual.
Out of the 43 communities in Kenya, KPLC has only employed 31 communities. The company has further not complied with hiring the required number of people living with disability. The Senate Committee on Cohesion also established that the company has a high aging workforce, with 1,287 of its employees aged between 55 to 64. The company was also accused of not adhering to the 2/3 gender rule, with 70% of its employees being male.
That not more than 2/3 of members of elective or appointed bodies shall be of the same gender. That one also is a law.
The company has not complied with the 2/3 gender as per Article 27, paragraph 8, Article 27, or paragraph 8 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. So we submit here that being a technical organization, there is a limited pool of qualified female candidates for technical positions, especially in specialized fields, and representation of that 21.18% of female. Again, I think in terms of the kind of work we do in the field, it's a bit rough, and at times even who may not really be as attracted. But yes, we are doing everything possible to ensure that we do even comply in this particular area.
KPLC has only conducted 5 advertisements for job vacancies in the last 5 years, seeking to hire technical, legal and ICT experts.
Well, on that note, we take a quick breather, but we have so much lined up for you, including the fact that Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has called for an enhanced mop-up of illicit arms and weapons in the hands of unlicensed civilians to combat security threats facing the region effectively. In the headlines now, we speak matters business, where ICT policy makers from across Africa should be at the forefront to chart a roadmap that will accommodate scalability in the digital landscape. Information Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo says there's need to harmonize policies and laws that support effective exploitation of digital opportunities. Trevor Ngendo attended the Connected Africa Summit, where over 16 ministries from Africa attended, and files the following report.
Inconsistent, inadequate government policies and regulations pose major challenges in ICT adoption and usage. To effectively address such challenges, Africa needs to embrace solution-based technologies tailored to its unique needs, but first, foster concerted efforts to address the digital divide.
We are looking at matters of connectivity. How do we ensure everyone in the continent is connected?
Because in the face of digitalization, it is no longer justified that we will be asking the African people to visit government offices to consume government services.
Other issues the policymakers want to explore include strategies to reduce cost and increase accessibility, such as incentivizing private sector investment and promoting competition in the telecommunications industry.
We need to move together as Africa so that we come up with policies, laws and regulations that speak to each other.
Digital transformation is no longer a choice. It's a necessity, just like a water utility, just like any other utility that we use at home.
Africa has a low internet penetration rate of just 36%. This is despite the youth driven by their bold creativity and indomitable entrepreneurial spirit, pioneering advances in fintech, agri-tech, renewable energy and digital services.
Kenya is actually full of success stories of companies applying technology to aquaculture. We believe that our respective digital ecosystems can thrive through more cooperation at all levels.
We have then agreed and we aim to form a caucus of authorities responsible for digital connectivity to coordinate this effort and support our respective governments in the achievement of these priorities that will be identified here.
Delegates underscored the need to close the digital divide as a priority to enhance connectivity and grow the contribution of the ICT sector to Africa's GDP.
Kingdom Bank, which is a subsidiary of the Cooperative Bank, has joined the list of banks opening branches in Gikomba market to serve the growing clientele, among them micro, small and medium enterprises. Kingdom Bank Board's chair, Margaret Karangatha, says Gikomba, that is a hub of retail, traders and customers, wholesalers and other businesses, including food vendors, presents an opportunity for financial institutions keen to support entrepreneurs in the area.
To work with you, we see that it is our commitment to work with entrepreneurs to grow all the way to the top. It is vibrant hub steering business with micro businesses and small enterprises that form the backbone of our economy. And our decision to establish a presence here underscores that dedication to support and uplift the work that is going on.
Well, my colleagues are accusing me of pronouncing Gikomba in English. Well, ni Gikosh, kuna bank pale. Aya, Plans are underway to establish a government-backed leather fund that will finance the purchase of hides and skins during the high season to minimize wastage and post-harvest losses. The Kenya Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat says the leather fund is part of a raft of measures that will see small and medium enterprises liquidated in efforts to spur activity.
Kenya is seeking to locally manufacture 25 million pairs of shoes annually in a bid to provide a ready market for leather processors and companies. Driving up the local demand is earmarked to reduce wastage of hides and skins in Kenya and propel the leather industry.
We have to appreciate the market currently. If you look at the number of our school-going children, if you look at our security forces, at our factory workers, if we are able to convert that one to ready markets and they start buying rockery, the industry will grow.
To liquidate the hides and skin industry that is mostly driven by the SMEs, a leather fund will be established to shield SMEs from fluctuating leather prices, especially during the high season for tanning before selling to small-scale processors.
There is no automatic market for the existing, maybe tanners or the traders, to absorb all the hides. The government, with the Leather Development Fund, will come and do all the contract tannings to absorb all the hides instead of being thrown away.
They are calling on counties to employ leather officers to work in tanneries to be established in devolved units.
Looking at quality products that are manufactured locally, properly branded, properly packaged, so that they can fit in the market.
They also want tanneries to familiarize themselves with international leather standards to increase exports and reduce leather interceptions in key international markets.
Food processing, packaging, building and construction, electronics, fashion and textile value chains have been identified as key opportunity niche areas for those keen on tapping into the circular economy space. East African Business Council Chief Executive John Bosco Kalisa is urging businesses to focus on creating linkages to unlock the potential in wealth generation from waste. Data from the Ministry of Environment indicates that the government spends 3.4 billion shillings annually on waste management, despite the total waste generated in the country increasing on account of industrial growth and agro-processing.
The transformation we want is a shift, a paradigm shift from a linear economy to a circular economy.
This presents an opportunity to create wealth that the private sector can tap into.
And it will require a lot of effort. It will require a lot of collaboration in terms of policy, in terms of a shift in terms of legal and regulatory framework. It will require finance. And I'm happy KCB Bank is here. Last evening, I met the CEO of Equity Bank. Doctor said, please come.
To support transition from linear to circular economy, the private sector wants sustainable financing and incentives.
60% to 70% of the waste we're talking about today is organic waste. And that's where we really need to look at the innovation that we need to put in place to make sure that it doesn't stay in the environment. And of course, there's a lot of initiatives that are ongoing to support this.
They are advocating for increased sensitization on proper waste management, behavior change and compliance to the National Sustainable Waste Management Act to increase value extraction from waste and thus making waste a resource. Evans Mwangi won the 1,000cc category during the opening leg of the Superbike series at the Whistling Moran racetrack in Athi River, Machakos County. The championship attracted dozens of racers who competed in a total of 5 classes.
Completed the 1,000cc category with 45 points after 2 grueling rounds to emerge the winner during the first leg of the series held on the asphalt 1.4-kilometer racing track at Whistling Moran.
Motorcycle racing has been growing in Kenya year after year, and we can see races are doing good times, and one day we'll export somebody to the MotoGP.
Bikes, the adrenaline is always correct, the energy is always correct, and it brings people together.
PJ Gadhaya wound up second, while Mark Makanga posted 32 points to be placed third. Gidenji Kimamo was the victor in the 600cc Supersport category, as Jeremy Raphael and Joy Nkatha wound up in second and third positions in the race that attracted a total of 12 riders.
For me, we used to be in top 3 in almost all the races, yeah. But it's also welcoming seeing the new guys who joined the race today in our category. Yeah, performing good. So that's we're going in the right direction.
Muraya Kuria was in imperious form in the 100cc class, peeping Edwin Gakuru and Charles Kimiti to second and third positions. Third place Kimiti, who is racing with the course, expressed his determination to post impressive results in the remaining season's races.
I'm aiming to compete across the world with other countries, Brazil, America, South Africa, other countries which have the community where I can participate with them and compete, represent Kenya in the international level.
The organizers are mulling over increasing the number of legs in future, calling on partners to come on board and boost their efforts to popularize the sport in the country.
To spread out the 4 races within the year is fair enough so that we give people adequate time to practice and adequate time to prepare their bikes in case they need to do anything to them, and also to practice for the forthcoming event. And I personally believe that it's fair and enough.
I think this event is going to be, it has been a good show starter for us. It has been a good example for how the rest of the year is going to be, because we expect people to come. We expect racers to turn up. Now we have more female racers. Now we have even more new racers and younger racers. And we expect that to be more and more even in the future.
The next round of the series is scheduled July 21st at the same.
Well, now you know what to get into. Now, Victor Kipchirchir defended his title at the 5th edition of the Eldoret City Marathon as he claimed a hat trick on the road in the City of Champions. In the women's race, Emily Chepkemoi took the women's crown at a time of 2 hours, 30 minutes and 14 seconds, becoming the 5th winner of the marathon since inception in 2018.
Victor Kipchirchir, who holds the Eldoret Marathon course record of 2 hours, 8 minutes and 56 seconds recorded at the 2021 edition, timed 2 hours, 12 minutes and 49 seconds to claim victory in the 2024 edition, beating Felix Kipsang, who came in second in 2 hours, 12 minutes and 52 seconds, while Evans Kipruto timed 2 hours, 13 minutes and 16 seconds to close the podium.
Wasingishu ni nyumbani, nilizaliwa Wasingishu. So hata hiyo watu ya nyumbani wakiwa hapa, hiyo ndio at least inanipea ni furahia na marafiki.
Emily Chepkemoi, who won the 2022 edition of the Kakamega Forest Marathon, maintained her winning streak in the Eldoret City Marathon by clocking 2 hours, 30 minutes and 13 seconds. Akeno Matha finished second in a time of 2 hours, 31 minutes and 22 seconds, while Joan Jepkosgei settled for third position in 2 hours, 34 seconds and 16 seconds.
2022 nilikimbia hapa, nilikuwa position 4. Sasa nilikuwa na moyo wa kushinda siku ya leo. Nilikuwa naomba Mungu nipate 3.
Now, congratulations. And that effectively puts a cap on Matters News this morning. Some of the key stories we're going to be following up for you is now that government yesterday pronounced itself yesterday, saying that doctors have up until the end of today, being Tuesday, to agree on what has not been agreed upon, and the ongoing medics strike that has been ongoing for the last 1 month plus. We'll be keeping tabs on that, as well as the outcomes of the Connected Africa Summit that is happening just here within the Central Business District, and to also now bring you up to speed on what to expect in as far as sports is concerned. We have the English Premier League there, EPL, and the mighty Arsenal is going to be squaring it out with Chelsea. In other quarters, especially on social media, it's a team ya mafundi versus team ya watu wa boda boda. I don't know who's going to carry the day. It is at your discretion to decide if you're boda boda or mafundi. That is today's match at 10, and I can see Victor is not too happy about that, but hey, that's social media. Anyway, so tomorrow's games, which happens to be Wednesday, we're going to have Wolves taking on Bournemouth at 9:45. Crystal Palace at 10 is going to be squaring it out with Newcastle. Everton at 10 is also going to be squaring it out with Klopp's, those that do not walk alone, that is Liverpool. And the The great Manchester United at 10 is going to be taking on Sheffield United. That's Wednesday's games. Then let's talk about matches on Thursday. Brighton versus Manchester City. Victor is bragging that tonight is a win that is going to give them 7 points ahead or at the top of the league. But we all know Arsenal may start strong, but we are not so sure they'll finish strong. That puts a couple matches in news this morning. Be sure to check out our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke for further details. I'm Regina Manyara, and I leave in the capable hands of my team here. Victor, Mike, and Vivian. Victor, you have something to say?
Wait, Regina.
I'm not running. I'm not a runner. Sama.
Sheffield itawatandika. Let's just face it.
What I'm saying is,
yes,
choose kama ni team ya mafundi ama yatu boda.
But you know the problem with Manu.
Tomorrow we will be here with the results.
No, okay. Manu, mko tu hapo. You are not fighting for top 5. You're not fighting for Champions League.
At the end of the EPL, Manchester will be at the top. So it is at your discretion to decide which Manchester we are talking about.
Your time is up. Your time is up.
But for tonight's game at 10, Arsenal versus Chelsea, who will carry the day. Let's meet tomorrow, God willing.
Elephants.
Oh, the elephant that is always tumbling off the branches. Okay. Oof. That was a cup on the news. I leave you the rest of your team. Kindly stay safe, stay warm. Yeah, Regina Manyara.
Thank you, Regina.